What was your high school wildest NSFW scandal? Wait, I think I saw this in a movie once. Some girl became obsessed with trying to catch a supposedly perfect girl take a shit. She followed her around for weeks and one day caught her in the bathroom. She didn't have a buffalo and was shitting out of her mouth. Edit. Yay. I tried to figure out what show it was, but the search results I kept getting made me want to burn my phone. Happy hunting, everyone. My statistics teacher got fired when he accidentally turned on the projector to show his Mac screen to the whole class and the porn site was opened. My stats teacher fired halfway through the year for laundering money through the basketball team. Shame he couldn't predict that. I'm not really sure all the details, but I remember we had a free week with no stats teacher and the principal brought us huge candy bars because he felt bad. It was an AP class low, so I guess he figured we were upset to have no teacher. My senior year we had a freshman who became obsessed with another girl in my class. He would call her all the time, not sure how he got her number, show up at her house, and follow her around school. His harassment started to become sexually graphic and increasingly angry violent. She told him to stop and a few guys on the baseball team he was on also told him to cool it. This only intensified and resulted in him sending her a very graphic and threatening voicemail. The girl finally turned everything over to the police and school. His baseball coach was disgusted and permanently kicked him off the team, and he was suspended from school for 2 weeks. He went home that day, called the girl again and said, "I hope you're happy you ruined my life," and shot himself in the head. It is unfortunately a true story. I tried to find an article talking about it, but this was back in 2006, which makes it difficult to find. Plus my old band teacher tried to suck one of his students' dicks on a school trip and went to jail for it. So if you look up my old high school, all you get is articles about that. I went to a charter school in PA. The founder stole hundreds of thousands of dollars from the school district and used it for himself. In the back of the school, he built an apartment with a stripper pole, but it was hidden in the school. You could only get to it through one door hidden in a closet. He was eventually caught stealing money and he committed suicide. The soccer coach was sleeping with 4 of the soccer players 16-18 years old, 2 of them being other teachers' daughters. They had it completely secret until his wife found a journal where wrote about each time he slept with each girl on the team. At the end of the school day we walked out and there was 4-5 cop cars and they were walking him out of his building in cuffs. If I remember correctly, the girls didn't have to come back to school for the rest of the school year. It was close to the end anyway. Everyone found out their names pretty quickly. Biggest scandal at that school in decades. A student routinely masturbated in the gender-neutral bathroom without cleaning up after himself, and when people found out they started leaving post-it notes that read "nut-free zone." Our principal had to address the entire school about it. Edit. I'm in no way saying this was a problem with the bathrooms themselves, but it was 100% a problem because of that individual. A few years ago I had the TV on in the background with the true crime show going. Wasn't paying much attention to it until I heard the line, "There wasn't much else for high school kids to do in wife's hometown during year wife would have been in high school." Started paying attention and it's covering some kind of sex ring that ended with the murder of one of the participants. Brought it up with my wife and she was like, "What?" I don't remember. Oh, right, that incident. Our history teacher made multiple sexual remarks to a female classmate. One time he pulled her shirt up because her cleavage was distracting. He retired not long after that. I had a friend in one of my high schools who had a pretty large chest for that age, 16-17 years old. She had a teacher that used to call her Double D. Her initials were DD. Always kept her staying late after school, making creepy comments. The usual. Apparently every school has at least one old creep like that. There was this younger, smoking hot female teacher at my high school. Her BF was on The Real World, and she did a visit on the show wearing a super skimpy bikini and talking about her BF's dick. Everyone had already had a crush on her, but this pushed it over the edge. I don't know if she quit teaching, but I don't remember seeing her around school after that year. One of our history teachers had been a stripper before becoming a teacher. This was years earlier. She was a stripper before she even went to college to get her teaching degree. We found out about this because the father of one of my classmates had been a regular customer of hers and recognized her at a student-teacher conference. He told his son, who obviously told the entire school. My biology teacher was having sex with a sophomore. It became a personal problem for me because I wanted to take AP Bio the next year, and I needed a recommendation from my current teacher to take the class. I asked the AP instructor if I should go to the state penitentiary to get my letter. Edit. That requirement was waived for me, but I'm okay saying terrible things about the ordeal instead. One of the girls were fucking the IT admin. She was 16-17 when that started. Heard an update from an old classmate nearly 20 years later, and not only have they stayed together, they're married, got 3 kids and live the upper middle class suburban dream life. Principal sexually harassed a teacher. Gym teacher was fired for being too close to female students. I couldn't get any more details, but I did witness his strange behavior towards females in the class many times. One girl had a key to his office. Students having sex in bathroom. Second, theater. Nobody ever got caught in the theater as far as I know. There was also a stabbing my freshman year. I didn't witness that itself, but I was in the hallway that it happened on and witnessed the loud and panicked crowd. Edit. For any more people wondering if we went to the same high school, I went to high school in Tennessee. A student was having sex with many girls in the gym locker room or music practice rooms. This was discovered due to an explosion in STD rates. I don't recall if it was chlamydia or gonorrhea. Yuck. Girls' track coach gave members of the girls' track team rides home and massages. Got escorted out of the school in cuffs one day. Our science teacher was a porn star in a past life. Someone in the school found a video she was in his dad's porn stash. It was a huge scandal in our conservative town. She was let go, which sucked because she was really an excellent teacher. It became a national news story. She was on Dr. Phil about it. Despite numerous campaigns by the students, she was never hired back. A kid apparently jacked off in the back of the class. Someone apparently got it on their phone. Cops came. Person who recorded it got charged. He sat where I did, but in a different class period. So I switched my chair for a new, less nutty, chair. Turns out, every other class before me had also switched the chair. So we could and find the nut chair. We even made black lights with our phones to look for the chair. It was great. Long story short, a student was caught having sex with a sheep at the tiny farm the school ran for the agricultural elective students. Edit. So, since it's been asked a few times, the only slightly longer part of the story was that the class was, as stated, an agriculture elective. Once a student had completed enough required worksheets, they got to go over to the farm and do some work instead of sitting in class writing. Not exactly easy, but it was nice when the weather was cool. This guy had the class for both morning sessions, so he said he'd just stay over at the farm and get a ride back at the end of the next class. Well, amongst other incidents, he was not the brightest bulb in the box. Seems he lost track of time and the next class came walking up to the barn with him balls deep in the sheep. Word was, the sheep didn't seem to notice. We had a charity thing in high school where you'd raise money for cancer. The amount being raised was shown on a thermometer and every limit would force a teacher to shave their head. On the very top was this French teacher. Anyways, the initiative was due to finish after lunch recess. A bunch of people are in gym shaving their heads and trying to raise money. Bills are flying down from the bleachers and we raised just enough money right at the bell. The French teacher was not down and ran away, causing all the students to chase her into the bathroom, banging on the door and shit. She soon after had a bit of a mental breakdown. Someone at school found out her Lava Life profile and she left. Also, some students stole all the money raised in the initiative from the gym. I think this happened right after I graduated, but I was still friends and neighbors with the PE teacher. One day while changing, one of the students thought it would be funny to shit in his own hand, carry it into the gym, and throw it at his friend who had already changed and was waiting for class to start. The teacher was too shocked to do anything at first, but it splattered off the other kid's shirt and then the kid started projectile vomiting. It started a chain reaction, and multiple students started dry heaving and then puking onto the gym floor, running out. The gym was closed down for like 2 weeks and had to be repainted. The hardwood floors refinished. The kid who carried out the shitfest received no punishment from the school and the teacher moved to a different school the next year. Also, the wrestling coach got arrested for possession of child pornography and inappropriate behavior with a few students. My first day of 9th grade, a senior took a hit of acid, took his clothes off, ran around naked yelling, "I want to see everyone, I want to see everyone." He was finally chilled out and they got a robe on him. Called his folks. Maybe he was suspended. Same him a few weeks later. 3 years after that he came to our house to install cable TV. My dad always kept some cheap beer around for service people and the like. I gave him and his co-worker and said we didn't have any LSD. He laughed his ass off and said, "That probably a good thing."